Hey there, ramblers and rovers. This is Miguel coming at you from the beautiful beach of Chuburná in northern Yucatan. So we are right by Puerto Progreso outside of the city of Mérida, and I thought I would make a video guide to showcase some of the amazing beaches that we have here on the northern Yucatan coast. Let's get started. So Mérida is an increasingly popular tourist destination, not only for its amazing culture, its chill tropical vibe, and for its bohemian air, but for the ecotourism and the nature that surrounds it. It is an amazing base out of which to do all kinds of activities, not the least of which is the amazing beaches that can be accessed from Merida itself. So let's start with one of Merida's most popular beaches, Puerto Progreso. So people from Merida famously say that Puerto Progreso is always just a 20-minute drive away. And it kind of is. It's located just north of the city of Merida along a highway. It is one of Merida's most accessible beaches and one of its most popular, consequently. Puerto Progreso has received plenty of investment in recent years owing to the expanding tourism infrastructure in Merida and the surrounding areas. So who would enjoy Puerto Progreso? Puerto Progreso is one of those beaches where if you like being surrounded by people, if you like restaurants and having a swim and then going to a bar and getting a beer and then just kind of that fluid kind of beach where you have a little bit of everything, where you have people and where you can just kind of walk down the beach a little and not be surrounded by as many people, where you can do beach or do restaurants or do both, where you can get a palapa or just go in for a swim. It has a little bit of everything, and it is the most accessible beach by far. It's only 25 to 30 peso bus ride away if you don't have a car. If you're in Merida and you have a car, it's only a 20-minute ride away from the northern side of Merida. Let's be clear. So next on our list is Chuburná Beach, where we are currently for this amazing sunset. So Chuburná Beach is located on the same stretch of coast as Puerto Progreso, but this would be the most isolated part of the beach that connects with Puerto Progreso. So all of the northern Yucatan coast has mangroves at the back of it. So the beach itself is this long stretch of coast that has some mangroves in the back. So this is one of the westernmost beaches and consequently one of the hardest to get to, because since it's so isolated, you need a car to get here, or either that or you have to take a bus into Chuburná, which is a little town close to Puerto Progreso, and then walk along the beach to just find your spot. But as you can see, it's a very isolated beach. There's not as many tourists here as there are in Puerto Progreso, so it is just a very different vibe. It's much more chill, intimate, relaxed, and a place where you can just unwind without having people coming up and selling you things, or the music of 100 radios from every single restaurant and vendor out in Puerto Progreso. And not to mention the amazing sunsets that you can see here. So number 3 on our list is Sisal. So Sisal is located about an hour and a half, an hour 40-minute drive away from the city of Merida. More than just a quick jaunt to the beach, it's actually more of a day trip. If you don't have a car, it's accessible by bus. You can go to any of the ADO stations and get a bus to Sisal, there and back. So it's easily accessible. It'll just take you longer to get there. So we recommend that you go there more of as a day trip, maybe on a Saturday or a Sunday, so you can enjoy the beach, the town itself, and most importantly, so you can take a chance to go out into the mangroves to try and see flamingos. I cannot stress enough how amazing the flamingos are out of Sisal. You can sometimes even see them right from the beach when they're migrating north during the late spring, early summer season. And they're just flying north along the coast towards their roosting grounds in the northeastern coast of Yucatan. So Sisal is a place that is a little more off the beaten track and just ripe for exploration and adventure. It's a great place to come and just have a day exploring the mangroves, the beach, and doing that bit of bird watching and trying to catch a glimpse of these flamingos. So the next beach on our list is going to be Celestún. Celestún is the beach that will be the furthest away from Merida. It's almost a 2-hour drive away from Merida, maybe 2.5 to 3 hours on a bus. It's still easily accessible by bus out of Merida, but being one of the furthest beaches out, you just have to plan a little more to be there, and most importantly to be able to get back, so you are able to catch the last bus out of Celestún back to Merida. So Celestún is famous for its amazing beach too, and also because it is the southernmost nesting grounds for all these huge flamingo flocks. It's a little different from Sisal. There are more flamingos in Celestún, especially during the early spring months, but they're more accessible by boat, so you would most likely have to take a tour on a boat that would take you really deep into the mangrove forests and into the lagoon, so that you can see the flamingos in their amazing splendor. You can still see them flying from time to time from the beach, and also from the mangroves that are just accessible from around town. But it is more of a place where you take a tour to do the flamingos, but the beach itself is also amazing. And being so far from Merida, you also have much less tourism traffic than you would in either Chuburná or Progreso, for example. So some honorable mentions of some cool beaches that are accessible from Merida, but perhaps not in our top list, would be Puerto Telchac and San Crisanto. So Puerto Telchac is an increasingly developed beach that has hotels and resorts and apartments. You have all these developments on the beach, but the problem is that it's increasingly privatized and not as easy to access the beach. It also doesn't really cater much to tourists, so it's more for people who are doing long-term stays at the Airbnbs or at the hotels. So you probably wouldn't have as much of that authentic flavor that you would want in the beach, or maybe access to tourism infrastructure, hotels, restaurants, bars, and that kind of stuff. So I don't really like it for that reason. It's like it just feels a little too developed, too capitalistic. So, but it might still be worth a visit if you have a car. You just kind of want to explore the coast. And further down the coast from Telchac Puerto, you find San Crisanto Beach. So San Crisanto is this little village that is a little more off the beaten path. It's like this hidden little gem along the coast. In my opinion, the beach is not as impressive, and being closer to the Caribbean coast, I think it's much more probable that you'll find seaweed there on the beach, as happened to us on our last visit. We just didn't enjoy it all that much, but still it's really has that off the beaten path tropical vibe to it. It's still very much a locals place, except for people who are in the know, who go from Merida to visit San Crisanto. My impression of it is that it's kind of this like hippie little village with a blend of locals and just kind of these people who are just in this isolated coastal village. But it doesn't really have that much of a tourism infrastructure. Not a lot of bars and restaurants and things that you would go there. Not a lot of attractions. Maybe if you just kind of want to go there and literally have the entire beach to yourself, that would be a nice idea. But it really is just accessible by car. We hope that our video and these images that we were showing you really demonstrated kind of like the pros and cons of each beach, so you can decide which beach is for you and which one to prioritize if you're here on a time crunch in Merida. Hopefully you can have enough time to visit all of these beaches. They're all amazing. They're all worth giving them a shot. Everybody's experience of a place or a beach or an attraction will be different. So my best recommendation would just be to give yourself a chance, and who knows, maybe the magic of travel will happen and you will have an amazing sunset, or meet a cool person at the beach, or just have the beach to yourself and just have an amazing time just relaxing on the northern Yucatan coast. So remember to do all of the usual YouTube stuff. Like this video, subscribe to my channel. It keeps us growing and bringing you amazing places, images, and stories from all over the world. So until the next adventure, keep on rambling and roving, amigos. Adios. I'm going off to the sunset.